Let me start with the truth nobody tells you. You're not nervous because you're weak. You're nervous because the conversation matters. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't feel anything. So before we go any further, let's reframe what's happening. Your body isn't betraying you, it's preparing you. That tight chest, that fast heartbeat, that shaky breath. Those are signs your system is gearing up to help you show up. It's energy, not danger. And the moment you understand that, your entire relationship with nervousness changes. Here's the biggest mistake people make before a tough conversation. They try to force themselves to feel confident. But confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is a behavior. You act confident first, the feeling shows up later. So let's walk through what actually works. First, nervousness is not a weakness. It's proof you care. Think about it. You don't get nervous asking someone to pass the salt. You get nervous when you're about to speak your truth. Set a boundary, ask for what you need, confront something uncomfortable, or stand up for yourself. That's not insecurity. That's emotional investment. And instead of fighting that feeling, acknowledge it. I'm nervous because this matters. Instant calm. Instant grounding. Second, prepare your message, not a script. Most people try to memorize every word and then panic when one sentence goes off track. That doesn't create clarity, it creates pressure. Don't memorize paragraphs. Memorize the point. Ask yourself, what do I need to say? Why does it matter? What outcome do I want? When you know these three things, your anxiety has nothing to feed on. Clarity kills nervousness. Third, control your physiology. You can't outthink a nervous system that's in panic mode. You slow the body first, then the mind follows. Try this as inhale for 4 seconds, a hold for 2, a exhale for 6. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, your brain gets a message. We're safe. Your voice steadies. Your thoughts line up. Your body stops trying to protect you from a threat that isn't actually there. Fourth, detach from the outcome. Most of your anxiety doesn't come from the conversation itself. It comes from the story you're telling yourself about what might happen. What if they get upset? What if they misunderstand? What if this makes things worse? But here's the truth. You don't control their reaction. You control your delivery. You control your honesty. You control your tone. And you control your integrity. That is enough. When you detach from their response, you take your power back instantly. You walk into the conversation grounded instead of walking and trying to manage their emotions. Fifth, walk in with purpose. Not fear, not panic. Purpose. Stand up straight. Shoulders relaxed, voice steady. Pace slow. This isn't arrogance. It's intentional energy. Because confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to move despite it. When you behave confidently, your brain follows and your nervousness starts to lose its grip. You're teaching your body that you're the one in charge. Now, let's talk about what happens right before the conversation. That moment when your hands shake and your heart is pounding. Here's what you do. Pause. Breathe. Remind yourself, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be clear. Perfection creates pressure. Clarity creates calm. Then walk in and speak slowly. Nervous people rush. Secure people pace their words. And if you stumble, if your voice cracks, if you lose your place for a moment, it's fine. Nobody is grading you. You're not giving a performance. You're communicating something important. The power is not in the delivery. The power is in the message. And most importantly, treat yourself with respect during the conversation. Don't shrink. Don't apologize for existing. Don't minimize your needs. Speak from your truth, not from your fear. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to eliminate nervousness. It's to learn how to handle it. Nervousness doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're human. And humans can be anxious and still effective. They can be scared and still strong. They can be shaky and still powerful. So before your next big conversation, remember this: you are more prepared than you think. You are stronger than you feel. And you are absolutely capable of speaking clearly even with butterflies in your chest. Walk in with purpose. Speak with clarity. And let nervousness be the sign that you're doing something meaningful, not something impossible. Nervousness is not a weakness. It's proof you care. It's the physical reminder that whatever you're about to do actually matters to you. People think confidence means feeling nothing, being unshakable, walking into every conversation with zero doubt. But real confidence isn't the absence of nerves. It's the ability to move while those nerves are still buzzing inside you. Nervousness shows up when you're about to express something honest, confront something difficult, or take a risk that could change the direction of a relationship, a job, or your life. It's the indicator that your heart is involved, your values are engaged, and the outcome matters enough to stir something in you. Think about it. You don't get nervous grocery shopping. You don't feel butterflies asking someone to close the door. You feel nervous when you're preparing to reveal a truth, ask for clarity, request respect, or express a boundary. That's not insecurity. That's emotional investment. And emotional investment is a strength, not a flaw. Nervousness means you're plugged into the moment. It means you're paying attention. It means you're human.
The problem is not the feeling itself, it's the story we attach to it. We say, I'm nervous, so something must be wrong. Or, I'm nervous, so I'm not ready. Or worse, I'm nervous, so I'm not strong enough for this. But none of that is true. Nervousness is your system getting you ready. Your body elevates your heart rate to deliver more oxygen. Your hands shake because adrenaline wants to help you act. Your stomach flips because your system is prioritizing alertness over digestion. Your body isn't betraying you, it's preparing you. The feeling that you interpret as a warning is actually your physiology trying to sharpen you. The same sensations you call fear can also be labeled as excitement, anticipation, readiness. The difference isn't the feeling, it's the meaning you give it. When you say, I'm nervous, but this matters, your shoulders relax. Your breathing softens, your mind steadies, you stop fighting the feeling, and you start working with it. Nervousness only grows when you resist it. When you accept it, it dissolves into something survivable, something manageable, something useful. And here's something most people never realize. Confident people feel nervous too. They just don't make it a problem. They expect it, they understand it. They don't treat it like a threat. They treat it like a signal. They say, good, my body's awake, I'm engaged, let's use this. They don't try to eliminate nerves. They try to channel them. And that's what separates someone paralyzed by nervousness from someone who can function through it. It's not about eliminating the sensation. It's about eliminating the panic you attach to the sensation. You can be shaky and still strong. You can be breathless and still clear. You can be anxious and still effective. Nervousness doesn't disqualify your ability to communicate. It simply highlights that this moment requires intention. And intention is a superpower. The more you understand emotional responses, the less they control you. Nervousness feels uncomfortable, but discomfort doesn't indicate incapability. It indicates importance. If you were truly not ready for a big conversation, you wouldn't feel nervous, you'd feel indifferent. Nervousness is a sign you're right where you need to be, at the edge of growth, at the doorway of honesty, at the moment where your voice could change something. It's the emotional friction that comes before courage kicks in, and courage doesn't show up in calm moments. Courage shows up precisely when nervousness does. Courage isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, steady, subtle. Courage is the act of speaking even when your voice wavers. It's the act of showing up even when your heart is pounding. It's the willingness to be seen when your instinct is to shrink. Nervousness and courage walk into every conversation together. One reminds you of the risk. The other reminds you of your capability. So instead of asking, how do I stop being nervous? A better question is, how do I handle my nervousness well? Because the goal isn't to remove the feeling. The goal is to operate through it with clarity and intention. Nervousness becomes more manageable when you stop judging yourself for feeling it. When you accept it, breathe through it, and let it be part of the experience instead of treating it like a personal flaw. Your nervousness means you care about the outcome, the relationship, the message, or the moment. It means you're stepping into something meaningful. And people who step into meaningful things are always at least a little nervous. So the next time your heart starts racing before a conversation, don't say, I'm falling apart. Say, I'm preparing. Because that is exactly what's happening. When you prepare for a conversation, a presentation, or a difficult discussion, the goal is not to memorize every line like a script. The moment you do that, you start putting pressure on yourself to perform instead of communicate. And when the focus shifts from connection to performance, anxiety sneaks in. That's why preparing your message, not a script, is one of the smartest ways to stay calm, clear, and confident. Think about the times you tried to remember exact sentences. You probably stumbled, repeated yourself, or froze when the other person responded in a way you didn't expect. That happens because scripts aren't built for real conversations. They don't allow room for interruptions, emotions, or natural flow. But when you prepare the message, the idea you want to deliver, the intention behind your words, and the point you want the other person to walk away with, then you become flexible. You're no longer locked into memorization, you're anchored in meaning. Preparing the message means knowing what you want to say, why you want to say it, and what outcome you're hoping to create. When that becomes clear in your mind, your words start to come out naturally. You don't need to worry about exact phrasing because your clarity guides you. Your body relaxes, your tone softens, your mind stops racing. Anxiety hates clarity because clarity gives you control. When your mind knows the destination, it no longer panics about every step. Imagine telling someone you care about something important. If you try to rehearse it line by line, you'll sound robotic or nervous. But if you take a moment to understand your message, maybe it's, "I want us to communicate better," or "I need more support," or "I want to express appreciation," then you can speak from a place that is real and steady. The message becomes your anchor. Clarity also makes you more present. Instead of thinking ahead to your next line or worrying about forgetting a phrase, you're engaged in the moment. You can listen without fear. You can adjust your tone based on how the other person reacts. You can pause without panicking. A script doesn't allow this. A script forces you into a box where the only goal is to not mess up. That's why so many people fear speaking. They think they must deliver something perfect instead of something honest. Preparing your message helps you drop that pressure. You're free to be human, authentic, and responsive. Another benefit is that clarity shortens your sentences and sharpens your thoughts. When you rehearse a script, you often add unnecessary words because you're trying to sound polished, but clarity strips that away. You communicate the core, the truth. Point. People respond better to that. They connect faster. They understand quicker. They feel your intention instead of getting lost in your performance. This matters in personal relationships, in the workplace, and even in everyday conversations. When your message is simple and clear, you don't have to try to impress people. You naturally express yourself in a way that earns trust. Anxiety also rises when your brain feels overloaded. Memorizing every word drains mental energy. Trying to recall it drains more, and managing fear of forgetting drains even more. That's a triple layer of pressure you don't need. But when you prepare a message, you relieve your brain. You hand it a clear focus. This is what I want to communicate. Suddenly, you have more mental space to breathe. Think and speak. The conversation becomes less of a test and more of an exchange. You're not acting, you're expressing. You're not performing, you're connecting. When people say they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, it's usually because they don't have clarity about what the right thing is. When they say they get nervous speaking up, it's often because they're trying to say too much at once. When they say they freeze, it's because their brain is juggling too many memorized lines. Clarity fixes that. It simplifies the task to one central idea. And the moment something becomes simple, it becomes manageable. Preparing your message also makes you sound more confident because confidence is not about having perfect words. It's about knowing what you mean. When you're rooted in your message, even if you pause, even if you rephrase, even if you stumble, you still come across as strong because your intention is steady. People don't remember your exact sentences. They remember how you made them feel, the strength of your point, and the energy behind your delivery. That only happens when you speak from clarity, not memorization. That's why preparing your message, not script, is a skill that reduces anxiety and increases impact. It gives you freedom, presence, calmness, and authenticity. And when you show up that way, conversations become easier, communication becomes clearer, and confidence stops feeling like something you chase and starts feeling like something you already have within you. Every moment of our life, our body speaks before our mind even has a chance to respond. The way we stand, the way we breathe, the way our heart races, and the tension in our muscles, all of it tells a story about how we are feeling. If you ever want to master your emotions, if you ever want to face challenges without crumbling, the first place to start is not your mind. It is your body. Most people think they need to think their way out of fear, anxiety, or stress, but the truth is that the body leads the mind,